LeBron Ramon James. LeBron Ramon James. My favorite player of all time. This is a guy who has been the best player in the world for the past 18 years, who has been so overwhelmingly dominant for so long. It is the most transitive player in this generation. He's almost greatness itself, because the reason why I said almost is obviously because it goes from Chicago LeBron has been chasing throughout his career, and that's Michael Jordan. And ever since he won 2 rings with the Miami Heat, along with winning 2 finals MVPs and 2 regular season MVPs, and even before that when he won 2 MVPs with Cleveland, which is 4 MVPs he won in that stretch, seeing how he has been the best player in the world since probably his 5th year in the NBA per se. He was so good and dominant in these years that he was an automatic first ballot Hall of Famer in a top 20 or 25 player of all time. There's no debate on that. Adding with the 2 rings and finals MVPs he won with the Miami Heat only puts him up at the top 10 or 15 spot in the all-time list. But against the Warriors in 2016, where he mounted the biggest comeback in sports history, coming back 3-1 against the 73-9 Warriors that year and won finals MVP, cemented him as an automatic top 3 player of all time and put him in the GOAT conversation. And keep in mind, I can be biased to say that this finals made him the greatest player of all time, but really that only put LeBron in the conversation. But last season, the Lakers just captured their 17th championship, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis both dominated the finals against the young and upcoming Miami Heat. But LeBron had better performance than Anthony Davis and later captured his 4th championship and finals MVP. So what now? He erased all the narrative that everyone says about him, including Skip Bayless, throughout his career, judging from his longevity and greatness alone when winning his 4th championship and finals MVP. If this is it, is LeBron James officially the greatest player of all time? This is a highly anticipated video I want to make, because this is obviously the biggest debate in basketball. Who's the GOAT? MJ or LBJ? And this is the topic we're going to discuss in LeBron James' favor in the GOAT debate, because after winning last year's championship, did he officially surpass Michael Jordan? Do we actually give LeBron the edge based on a career standpoint over Jordan? We'll discuss later on this video. Hey man, say man, this is the A-Man Show, back at it again for more content. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content, and also turn on post notifications so that way y'all don't miss any of my new videos. Anyways, let go.
I paid my dues, now I'm a made man. I call my fame, now I'm a made man. You never see me again. I got the juice, now I'm a made man.
What to say about King James, man? We all know how great LeBron James is in an individual standpoint. The man was bred to be great since high school, as he is the greatest high school player to ever play and was picked first overall by the Cavs. As a guy coming from high school and being picked first overall in the highly stacked 2003 class, there are so many expectations that literally everyone makes that he needs to make an immediate impact right away for this struggling Cavs team. He needs to become a franchise player right away. All these crazy expectations set for LeBron. Seeing how he is the most hyped ever, LeBron not only lived up to these expectations, but he surpasses every expectation set forth, as he won Rookie of the Year and improved their record to 30 plus wins, and the rest pretty much history, as he will later emerge as a top 5 player in the NBA at a young age. But later LeBron will do the unthinkable, as in just his 4th season in the NBA as a 22-year-old, he took a Cavs roster of Larry Hughes, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Sasa Petrovic, Drew Gooden, Anderson Varejao, Eric Snow, Daniel Gibson, all these guys to a finals appearance in just his 2nd appearance in the postseason, including having one of the greatest playoff performances of all time, where in Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals against yet depleted but still poised championship contender in the Detroit Pistons that won a championship 2 years prior. LeBron scored 25 combined points in the 4th quarter overtime and double overtime combined to edge the win over the Pistons and close them out in Game 7. This series shows that he's already an all-time level talent based on what he did in the 2007 playoffs, as he led a scrub team to a finals appearance where they go up against the San Antonio Spurs, who the Cavs stood no chance against, as they will get mollywopped in 4 games. But still, LeBron has done an incredible feat that only less than a handful of all-time great players. For example, Allen Iverson carried a pretty trash Sixers team to the finals, also keying a win in Game 1 of the 2000s finals against the dominant Lakers. But y'all have to know that he played in a weak East, also the fact that the roster he had is better than what LeBron had, and also Iverson was in his prime where LeBron was just only 22. After that, LeBron would carry the Cavs to 3 more postseason appearances and win MVP back-to-back through 2009 to 2010. LeBron at this point is now considered the greatest player in the NBA going towards the next decade. As an athlete, he was at the pinnacle of his athleticism. The guy was not a human being during the 2008 to 2010 seasons, as between these seasons, he averaged 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists on 49% shooting, and 33% from 3. And even in the playoffs, the man was just on some bullshit, as he would average 33 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists on 50% shooting, and 36% from 3 on 5 attempts. He was elite on the defensive side of the ball, as he was guarding the best player on the team. In other defensive stats, he would average 2 blocks and a steal. LeBron will consistently carry the Cavs to 60 plus wins, but fall short against the Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2009, and in 2010 fall short against the Big 3 Celtics. Now what? The Magic and the Celtics are now the best teams in the East, and LeBron simply cannot compete with them boys, especially the organization has completely failed him in the process, as they declined a trade to get Amari Stoudemire, who were one of the most dynamic power forwards of the 2000s. So LeBron made the signing of the Ages, where he announced that he'll be playing at South Beach, which pretty much changes the trajectory of free agency forever, as later seasons players started to change their overall destiny in terms of which teams they want to play at. After Bron signed with the Heat, everyone were going insane back in Cleveland, burning his jerseys and even going toward Dan Gilbert, pleading to LeBron in a letter saying that they will win a championship without him, and that did not age well whatsoever, as Bron will win 2 more MVPs, and the MVP he won in 2013 almost went unanimous, had Melo didn't receive a first place vote, win 2 rings with 2 finals MVPs in Miami, and later came back to Cleveland and should have won the 2015 championship had Kyrie and K-Love didn't get injured against the Warriors, but later will win in 2016 as he came back from a 3-1 deficit, led the series in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And speaking of blocks, the block he made against Iggy is one of the most iconic moments, if not the most iconic moment in finals history. But later, he will lose in the next 2 finals against none other than the Justice League of the NBA, the KD Warriors, and later LeBron leaves in free agency due to the fiasco and coming bleak future that the Cavs will eventually have. Bron will take his talent to LA, and many of us thought that Bron is going to just be there for Space Jam, collab with rappers and all that. And it's looking like that in the first season in LA, as the Lakers will have a great start in the first half of the 2019 season, but Bron will later suffer a groin injury that will keep him out for 16 games. And once he came back, you can tell from the games he played, he is not putting as much effort in the games he played, especially on defense, where he is just a statue on the defensive side of the ball. But it's fine seeing how this team has gone worse since then. But overall, all of this doesn't matter because the next year they will get AD and be the first seed in a tough Western Conference, and LeBron captures his 4th ring. So what now? LeBron has accomplished as many accolades, as many legends, along with the dominance and longevity. There's no reason why LeBron isn't a top 3 player of all time. But the question is, did he surpass Michael Jordan? To surpass Jordan is to achieve beyond excellence and achieve incredible feats that has never been done by any other player ever. Jordan's career is almost perfect in terms of accolades and the numbers he put up. He went 6-0 in the finals and never took any final series to 7 games. He is arguably the greatest scorer in NBA history and one of the greatest overall defenders of all time, along with winning 6 finals MVPs with 5 regular season MVPs, literally outclassing every Hall of Fame and or all-time great in the 90s. There is literally no one in history until Bron can rival what Jordan did in his 14-season career, not even Kobe, who is the exact but worse version of himself. So let's look at the bigger picture. Jordan plays 5th all-time in scoring, 3rd in steals, 46th in assists, 5th in field goals, while on the other hand, Bron is 3rd in scoring, 14th in steals, 8th in assists, 4th in field goals. Although Jordan undoubtedly can be the all-time leader in points scored if he hadn't retired 2 times, LeBron is at least top 10 in scoring, assists, and field goals, and also minutes played, and all that has to do with his longevity. LeBron James is one of the most durable players the league has ever seen, as this man never missed a playoff game in his career. He only had 1 season at which he played 70 games, and that was in the 2019 season where he suffered a groin injury, and played alone. He has been at least top 5 or top 3 in MVP voting every single year, and you can make the case that LeBron has gotten better with age. For example, 2018, which is also an addition to his case for GOAT, he averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists on 54% shooting and 37% from 3. And not to mention his playoff run is just incredible. Carrying a roster that shouldn't even mention of being in the playoffs, he managed to single-handedly get over the hump in every single game. And I also might add that LeBronto series, which I just don't want to talk about it. Y'all can see it for yourselves. In the 2018 finals, LeBron had a 51-point game, also one of the best final performances of all time, and should have won game 1 if JR did not become a big idiot. I know when we discuss about these two, we have to talk about the eras they played in, especially the competition. For instance, earlier in his career, Jordan was leading the league in scoring every year and was the most dominating player in the NBA, but he had a lack of a supporting cast to compete in the East, because the East in the late 80s to early 90s were the best it ever been. You have the Bad Boy Pistons, Milwaukee Bucks with Sidney Monk, and the best of them all is the Boston Celtics of Larry Bird, Robert Parish, and Kevin McHale, also adding key role players such as Dennis Johnson and Bill Walton. I don't care how good you are. How can any legend by themselves can beat a juggernaut like that? It took someone like a Jordan to score 63 points in the East Finals, and he didn't even beat them in game 1 despite being close, and later in his career had to go against the Bad Boy Pistons, who Jordan didn't beat until 1991. As for Bron, he had to go against the Big 3 Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Adnan Rondo. He knows that he couldn't beat them alone, especially the anus roster he had. It took him going to Miami to beat them, because back then LeBron was the most hated player in the NBA since he signed with Miami, especially when he lost to an inferior team in the Dallas Mavericks. Had he lost to the Celtics in the East Finals back in 2012, it will severely damage his career forever, as the Heat will consider breaking the team up. Every legend has an obstacle they go through and overcome to make it to the promised land. As you can see, both Jordan and Bron had similar situations of obstacles, such as the Celtics and the Pistons, that both can't get over the hump in a period of time, and once they gone over the hump, that's when the conversation gets deeper. Jordan competition during the Bulls' first three-peat had to go against the 58-win Lakers with Magic, Worthy, and Scott. There were more regrets than years past, but good enough to be a championship contender, and then the following year, they faced a more talented team in the Portland Trail Blazers, with Clyde Drexler leading the way as he averaged 25 points on 47% shooting, and compared to Jordan, he was viewed as a better shooter than him. Well, Jordan put that to sleep in his infamous shrug game, where Jordan set the record for the most threes in a finals game until it was broken by none other than Curry. Then in 1993, had to go against the 62-win Suns with Charles Barkley winning MVP along with Kevin Johnson, Dan Margie. This team was probably the best finals team Jordan faced in his entire career, and also he faced the Seattle Supersonics with Gary Payton and Son Kim and the Stockton Malone Jazz. Both of them were 60-win teams. They were damn good, but they weren't all-time great teams we talk about on a daily basis. As for Bron, in his first finals appearance, he had to go against the Spurs despite their record. This team with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Bruce Bowen, this team were more talented than half of the teams Jordan faced in the finals he won. LeBron went up against a young Thunder team with KD, Russ, Harden, and Ibaka, and despite all of them becoming MVPs later in their careers, there is still a more complete team and also more talented than some of the teams Jordan faced in the finals he played in. And also LeBron had to go against the Spurs again with a young Kawhi Leonard on the roster. If you even look at it, out of both eras, Bron in his career played in a much talented and better era than what Jordan played, because now players are more skilled, talented, and more athletic than ever, all because of technological advancements. And also Bron had to go up against and beat the Warriors, of all people, who has been one of the most successful franchises in NBA history. This team at their peak in 2017 with KD on the team is by far the greatest team of all time, and even the year prior had the best regular season record of all time, with Curry being the first unanimous MVP. And I don't care that Jordan played in a rougher era. For what LeBron accomplished in this era of basketball, it's another case for LeBron's favor for the GOAT title. But with all due respect, I can't discredit of what Jordan did in every season. He literally dominated mostly every playoff series throughout his entire career and never had a game where he didn't show up where it mattered the most. It's evident because every one of us thinks that he is one of, if not the most clutch player in history. I mean, the last minutes of Game 6 of the 98 Finals, or even back in 89 where he shot over Elo, pretty much explains how clutch Jordan is. But don't think that LeBron is not clutch. Bron actually shot better from the field than MJ in all the game winners of each close game. And a matter of fact, you can make the case that Bron is more clutcher than him, because it's not always the game winner. It's what he did in the last minutes in the biggest stages. What he did in the 07 playoffs against the favorite Pistons, or the performance he had in overtime in Game 6 of the 2013 Finals, where he scored 18 total key points in both in the fourth quarter and on overtime, and that's not talk about a whole lot. Had he didn't score these points, the Spurs would have won not only Game 6 but the entire series. Game 5 of the 2018 first round, where he made the last shot against the Pacers, or Game 7 in the East Finals, where Bron single-handedly scored the last 12 points to trump over the young Celtics without Kyrie, and also the chase down block. There are so many clutch moments from Bron that you can't help but think that he's one of the most clutch players of all time. Looking even further, Bron impacts the game in so many ways that every team he is in, they are an automatic playoff contender. He made it to 8 straight finals appearances, never lost in the first round. He's about to be the all-time leader in points, and he holds the record for the most points in playoff history, and he doesn't even consider himself a scorer. And he's about to be the first player ever to score a total of 40,000 points, grab 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists for his entire career. He has one of the highest win shares of all time, and has been consistently been the best player in the world for the almost 2 decades. Along with his accolades, his resume is almost unmatched, which begs the question: is LeBron James the greatest player of all time? Personally, I don't think that it's time to say that he is the GOAT. Right now, in his 18th season, there's nothing else that he needs to prove, because since they closed the Nuggets in 6 games in the West Finals, pretty much erased every narrative said about him, how he is not clutch, how his career is pretty much over when he signs with LA. Everything says about this man is irrelevant now. The only thing that he needs to prove is simply, can he surpass Jordan as the GOAT? This season, him and AD are in their second season together, and now they upgraded their entire roster, adding in 6 men of the year: Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, Marc Gasol, and even Taylor Horton-Tucker is emerging as a solid rotational option on this team. The Lakers is the team to beat in the NBA this season, and Bron right now, he has to consistently play like an MVP candidate for this season and the next season, because if they keep this roster, I can see this team going on a three-peat. LeBron James has to be the best player in these eventual playoff runs, because right now Bron is 4-5 in these finals, and if Bron wins 2 championships with finals MVPs, Bron will go 6-5 in the finals, meaning he will have more championships than finals losses, and even if he wins 1 in a finals MVP, then I would consider LeBron James the greatest basketball player that ever graced the court. And that's all. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content, and also turn on notifications on the right hand corner so that way y'all keep up with my videos. And anyways guys, this is the A-Man Show signing out.
I need to talk to Mike Larry.
Hello, this is Mike Larry.
Double A flex.